You've come a long way, from Iguana to your recent track with Sting. First of all, what does your name mean? What's the story behind your name? And is there like an interesting story behind your venturing into music?
Yeah, I mean, so Shirazee is a nickname that I got in high school in Ghana because I went to high school in Ghana, and I got the name because originally I was called Z, and then it graduated to Shirazi because the teacher while we were in history class said that he was talking about the African Persian people back in the day that were colonizing and they were brutal and all that stuff, and he said they were known as the Shirazi, and when he said it, my friends, the way he emphasized the Z, my friend was sitting next to me, just turned around and looked at me. It's like, yo, that's your new name. It's cooler than Shirazi. It's cooler than Z. So like, we're just gonna start calling you Shirazi. And then it was like a child's play thing. And then when it was time to make music for a living, I was like, everybody already knows me as Shirazi, so I'm just gonna run with it.
Mhm.
And without hearing Andre 3000 speaking about how I got into music, if it wasn't for Outkast, I probably wouldn't be making music today. When I heard Andre, the way Andre was playing with words and what he was able to do with words, that was mind-boggling to me. And I just felt like that's what I wanted to do for a living. So, I started off as a rapper and eventually found my own voice. And here we are.
Oh, what happened to your rapping career? Are we
I
able
don't know. I don't think I was the dopest. I think I was once I started singing my own hooks. One of my friends, his name is Scred. He actually produced 23 for Burna Boy on Burna Boy's album. Scred was the one that heard my vocal on a track, and he said to me, he said, "Man, listen, you cool. The rapping stuff is cool, but when you start singing, something special happens. I don't know what it is, but I think you should sing more." And that's literally how it started. So
Mhm.
at the time I was in France with Scred and working with him, and that's literally how the spark got started.
Are you ever gonna sing or rather rap on a record of yours again? Are we ever gonna get rapping Shirazi?
Maybe I'm already rapping on stuff that you guys don't know that it's necessarily me. I'm already writing for people that you didn't think it was me. Maybe I've written some verses here and there that you didn't know was me.
Yeah, tell us
You
now.
never
That's why we're having this conversation so that we will know. You want to give us a hint or two or three?
no, I got to keep it low because that's how they keep coming back for me to help. So,
Okay. Eventually, you're gonna have to tell me though. We're gonna have this conversation again, and maybe at that point, you'll be able to tell
when
me
I,
the first thing.
when I get to Lagos, when we're chilling offline, one day you catch me slipping, I might give you a name.
I'm gonna let it go. But yeah, you were talking about being in France, and you have been around Ghana, South Africa, Paris, London. Growing up, and then eventually New York. That's a lot of places that you've been. And how do you think that influenced and helped shape your music to what it is at the moment?
I mean, you can damn near hear it. Like it's literally, I call my music bipolar music at this point because I can go anywhere melodically, and it would even surprise the best of them. Like the relationship with Sting started with a song that I had done, years back when I first got into business. I wrote a song called Catch Tomorrow that he recorded. Basically, when you hear that song, you don't even think it's an African kid from Benin that wrote it because that comes from influences that I've had coming up, like from going to these different countries, from South Africa to all these places. Like I hear different melodies that I've internalized them growing up, and and when I open my mouth to sing, just something comes out that I cannot explain. It just falls out, and it has this different sound to it. And thank God I have a distinctive tone. So that's how that happens, and that's how I'm able to connect with these different artists that usually would not be able to like relate to an African kid from like me.
Okay. And speaking of meeting Sting, so that was how you met Sting for the first time. Um,
Yeah, we had never met until this year. We had never met. I wrote that record and he recorded it, and he kind of knew my name from then. That's it, and nothing ever happened again. And so this is the first time we met in person. and with this record.
Englishman, African in New York. All right. I want to talk about the creative process that went into that. Did you
Mhm.
wake up one morning and say, you know what, I want to do something on this record? Is it something that you've always wanted to do at the back of your mind? Did that happen by chance? What's the story behind it?
So Cami, how many times have you seen an artist that you really liked? You liked their music, but then you didn't know anything about them. You're like, I know I like this song, but I don't know who this guy is.
Mhm.
Like I kept getting the feeling that that was what my story was becoming, because I would meet people, and when they found out it was Shirazee, they're like, "Oh, you're the guy who did Make Wild. You're the guy who did Iguana." Like they would have a reaction, like, and I realized they didn't know who I was. So I was like, you know what? I have to do something that explains who I am. So who am I? I'm an African in New York, and I've always loved Englishmen in New York. So I thought, why don't I flip that and tell my story and make it very digestible to the masses so that people can actually get to know who I am. So it came from a genuine place of just me telling my story, just me wanting to say, hey guys, this is who I really am. Like, stop, loving the songs and not knowing who I am. Like, here's my story. I'm an African in New York. And just by doing that, it just led to everything else that you've seen now, to Sting hearing it and going, man, I want to do this with this kid. I want to stand next to this is what I created this song for. And it just resonated. It
Mm.
just resonated.
Did you send it to him? Did you say, hey, Sting's team, here's the song. I'd love to have Sting come maybe re-record it. Or did he hear it
I
on his own accord?
I I promise you, I wish I could I want to take, you know what? I want to take credit. I really want to go out here and lie to you and say, yeah, man, I already knew, like, listen, Kemi, like, listen, man, I knew it, man. He was going to jump with it. Trust me, it was none of that. The true story is, after I did it, I got a no. A publisher said no. Somebody said, no, you cannot do it. And I had to bypass them by going straight to Sting. So I just sent it to his team and I said, please, I would love to know if you guys would give me permission. And I heard back within 30 minutes. And I was told that I had permission from the man himself. And that for me was the biggest compliment. And that led to, us doing a Zoom call that, people saw us talk for the first time on. And it was interesting for us to talk during a quarantine like that on Zoom. People got to see me and him talk. It was fun. Then he I get a call from his team saying that he wanted to do a version with me. And when he said that, I almost fell out. I almost fell off my my bed. I was like, "What? This is crazy!" And he did it. He did it within the hour. I sent the stems of my version, and within the hour, I had the vocals back, and I could not believe it. It was actually me and Sting on the song.
And then you guys got to shoot the video as well. So all
Mhm.
of this is happening. Remember, this is via Zoom and communication via technology.
Yeah,
At what point did you eventually get to meet him, like in
we
person?
got, we got to meet in person when it was time to shoot our Good Morning America. I got to meet him, his lovely wife, and it was just an amazing experience, because we got to have some very, like he told you, we had some very private conversations that I don't think none of us are ever going to forget. Like, and me especially, the like some of the advice and some of the things that he was able to impart on me. Like, even after, and then after that, we got to link up again for Tiny Desk. And so it's something that is happening that is just, it's going to be a story of a lifetime, man. I'll be able to tell my kids one day, like, yo, I was able to rock with Sting, in person, and do these things. And we shared a lot of, like, moments, and his family. It was just so much. It's so much I could say about that man, that I don't think we have time for.